Today's news update, because of the extreme volatility in the market, is to address this in a sensible manner. So there's more to this in Trump's deck of cards than just tariffs. Tariffs are a big part of it, and I'm going to break them down as point or subject number 2. So also a part of this is taxation, right? So he hasn't done it yet, but he said as he was running for president that he was going to reduce taxes. That's going to be, a face card, if you will, coming into the game, and I think that is going to help the stock market. So we can look forward to that. That's a good thing coming down the line. But that's a concern of his. Trade balance is also a concern of his. Please refer to the graphs up behind me. I think we can all agree huge trade deficits, and especially trade deficits in essential industries, is very detrimental not only to U.S. business and U.S. jobs, but U.S. national security. Think about what happened during COVID, right? Think about what happened when we couldn't get tech chips. And now, what do we see? A lot of tech manufacturing moving to the U.S. That's great. Now, that wasn't, because of Trump, but as you can see, we do want to try and balance this out. And again, I'm not going to extremes. I'm not saying we shouldn't import everything, but I'm saying moving things back to the U.S. I know I personally would rather buy from my neighbor. I'm willing to pay a little bit more, right? Another concern he has is with the trade imbalance, and he's trying to fix that with the tariffs, and I would see that improving. Spending. He's reducing spending. Can't we all agree that this is pretty good for the country? I know my heart goes out to these federal workers that were let go. I was one of them. I was laid off from the Air Force after working I worked my tail off for 7 years. Like 70-hour weeks, 80-hour weeks. I was driven to make the Air Force my career, and Clinton came in. He did not like the military, and 80%, actually it was more like 95% of the captains in my year group, we had to go. And it was a sad day. I'm not going to tell you anything but the truth. I literally cried when I walked up base. My heart goes out to these federal workers. But our government, folks, is bloated. Our forefathers want a very limited government with essential services, and look at what we have now. We have many people on Social Security that we know are dead. Again, I'm not going to go too far into this, but it's obvious there's a lot of room for spending cuts. Deregulation. Deregulation is already going through the economy. I have clients from all different aspects of industry and business. I had a client in the other day. The client works for a firm that deals with chemicals and waste and stuff, and he already said that the EPA is loosening up on their regulations and their interpretation of the regulations, and he still thinks it's going to be safe, but they've cut already some bureaucracy out of the system, and he thinks that, one, it's not going to wreck the environment, but two, his company's going to be able to do business better. So deregulation definitely helps business across the entire span of industries. Growth. Can't we see that? He's a businessman. Now, you can't say you're sick of career politicians and then you hate when a businessman gets in, or a business person, if you will. Business people, I'm one of them. I'm an entrepreneur. I've owned many businesses. We think about things differently. We think about balance sheets, assets, liabilities, how we overall increase our net worth, just like I do with my beloved clients. Same thing with cash flow. We want to increase income, decrease expenses, so we have net cash flow, so that builds up assets. This is how he thinks, and this is what he is going to do. So I think when he has flipped the card table over, even though it wouldn't be my style, I think he's going to come back and have an effective negotiation. Point number 2, let's do a deep dive on tariffs. All right? I'm hearing all kinds of crazy stuff. Remember, if there's not blood in the streets, the TV shows don't make any money. That includes Fox, all of them. There's more commercials on right now. Have you noticed why? Because they're giving you blood in the streets, right? The market's getting creamed, and everybody's watching it. I'm warning you, don't watch it. I'm not watching it. I turn my Audible off. I only turn my Audible on. And this is a hack to keep my mind clear. Tariffs, folks. This country was built on tariffs. The first 100 years of this country, we did not have federal income tax. This is not a new idea. This is not a new idea. It's not an extreme idea. Yes, there's dangers and risk in tariffs. But it's not the boogeyman they're making it out to be. It wasn't until 1913 that federal income tax was actually made lawful and put into place. Before that, almost all our federal revenues were via tariff. And tariffs have been used along the way, sometimes in a bad way, but also in good ways. To what? Provide leverage at the card table. I also don't think, and I've listened to what he said, I've read, go to whitehouse.gov. If you want to really know what they're thinking, because everybody wants to tell you what they're thinking, just go there and read what they're thinking. Okay? I do not think that the tariffs are long-term. I think Trump is employing tactical tariffs, not strategic ones. Short-term. And really, if I only had 1 minute to talk here today, I would talk to you about how long it is, because that's really what the issue is. The volatility is because of the unknown, and the unknown won't be solved until the time is completed and we either have them in place for a long time or we don't. And I don't think we will. Okay, so I think he's employing tactical tariffs, and as soon as this settles out, I think the market's going to recover fast. It's doing some bouncing around today. I'm not saying it's the bottom. It could be a very good indicator that we're at the bottom. I follow the exact rules I'm sharing with you, the hack I'm sharing with you. I haven't had my audio on my TV on since 8 o'clock this morning when Maria was on. I've been seeing things on the screen where 50 plus countries are already wanting to come to the bargaining table. This is fantastic news. It's proving Trump's point. I don't think Trump is a protectionist. Again, he's a business person. He has properties and businesses all over the world. He has international people coming to his countries. I don't see any indication whatsoever that he's a protectionist. Maybe he's a little anti-global, right? Maybe he thinks he's a hired gun for us. I get that, right? And I think I would also agree with him. We can't afford, right, to be the piggy bank for the rest of the world on everything. We can't afford to have a military presence all over the world, and it's very costly, and not get something back. So if you're protecting everybody, Canada, listen up. If you're protecting everybody and you have trade deficits with them and they have tariffs on your stuff and you don't on theirs, we're getting taken to the woodshed in every area. So he's asking for fair and reciprocal tariffs. Again, I can't argue with that. I agree with that. I don't like getting hosed by the Canadians. Okay? And yes, he uses hyperbole to exaggerate. I get it. But if you really look at the numbers, the U.S. is paid for, in many ways, an inappropriate amount of the world's expenses. Third and final point. And again, I'm trying to keep this short, but it is kind of complicated. Remember, we're talking about the river. Yeah, tariffs are bad, but you just can't generically lay that out. The whole world's going to fall apart. He's only using tariffs, I believe, for a limited amount of time to get leverage. Let's talk about all the good things, all the great flows in the river. We're in a long-term bull market. Businesses are doing well. Again, my unofficial J poll, but which I've learned to rely on heavily more and more as my career has matured, as I get business people in here, as I get executives in here, as I get mom and pop business owners in here and talk to them about how things are going, I haven't heard any bad reports in like 2 years. I mean, things are going pretty well. They do complain about labor. Labor is tight. Subject for another day. I think we need good immigration policy. But again, that's a subject for another day. Things are going well. Now, I want to ask you a question, and I think this is very important to help you understand this. Remember, the stock market is liquid, which means there's buyers and sellers every day, right? And it's in a sell-off. Yes, in the stock market, that value was lost. It will probably come back. But think about the private markets, your mom and pops, the restaurants, the people in different businesses that you know. Did their businesses lose 10% in value since the start of the year? No. Why not? They're not actively traded. And that is one of the problems of the stock market. That is what can cause the stock market to be overly volatile, right? So I would argue that this equity, hasn't really gone away. I don't think the actual value of it has gone away. Yeah, the price dropped, but I think that price will probably escalate fairly quickly. And I'm thinking third quarter, maybe fourth, folks. Hang on, don't panic. It's going to come back. The Fed is dropping interest rates. That's fantastic. Now they've slowed down a little bit, right? And I think that's a plus because they think Trump is eventually going to grow this economy. Oil is dropping. That's fantastic for the economy. It's fantastic for you and me. Inflation is going down. That's fantastic, right? The tariffs might cause some price increases. I get it. But overall, the macro view is prices are dropping, and that's good. All right, folks, let's summarize. The river, a lot of good current in the river. I do not think it's going to reverse direction. I don't think we're headed for a recession. I don't really see a depression happening. I think that this tariff situation is tactical and short term. I think Trump's going to negotiate that out. People are already coming to the negotiating table. There's a lot of other things to think about that a president has to worry about. I think those are moving in the right direction. And overall, if you look at our economy, it's in really, really good shape and things are moving forward. So please don't panic. And if you are in a panic state, give me a jingle. I'd love to talk to you personally. But keep the faith. I think this market's going to come back. I'm not exactly sure when, but we'll go to higher highs and this economy will get back on track. Thank you so much for your valuable time.